apologies for the lack of good lighting in this video, guys. Again, I'm filming during the day because I'm working at a time this week where I'm working at night, so the daytime is the only time I can do videos. I'm sorry about that. So hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and for this video, we are doing a video on another episode, continuing with my journey of rewatching, or watching for the first time, episodes from the 12th Doctor's era. We began with Deep Breath, and now we're going to be going throughout the entire 12th Doctor's era, doing a review of each of his episodes. And now we're on the episode called The Caretaker, so we're still in Series 8, for those of you guys who are just tuning in for the first time. And for The Caretaker, okay, I believe this story was written by Gareth Roberts and Stephen Moffat. And with this, you see how Stephen Moffat with this season, he wrote some stories, but he also co-wrote other stories, showing how he's really trying to keep a nice, cohesive story arc or a feeling of continuity all throughout the show, which I gotta give him credit for. That he desired, sorry, I gotta shift, that he does really, I gotta give him credit for his desire to have this have a nice continuity to it. Whether you like the season or not, that's up to you. That is perfectly fine for those who love Series 8. And guys, for those who love Series 8 or hate it, you all are welcome on these reviews. I am perfectly fine with both sides of this situation. Okay, with The Caretaker, it starts out with, actually, is it okay if I'm worried now that someone might watch this review and I might spoil something for them if they've not seen The Caretaker yet. What should I do? What should I do? I'm kind of afraid that maybe I've been spoiling things for people. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm gonna try to make it as spoiler-free and be as general with the plot line as I possibly can with this one. I will try. I will try. Okay, so with The Caretaker, the 12th Doctor and Clara are now a pretty solid Doctor-companion duo. But here's the thing, this is wearing on Clara. It literally is, because Clara is leading a double life. She has her life with the Doctor, where it's all running a lot. Then she has her life with Danny Pink, on top of also her work life. And you feel how Clara is being stretched thin between all this, and she even says in one bit, she's like, sits down, plops down, she's like, I can't do it, I can't do it. Then she girds her loins and she's like, I can do it. Yes, she can, because you're Clara. Alright, and then she goes out with the Doctor again, thinking they're going to go on another adventure, but no, the Doctor has an adventure he wants to do all by himself. Why? Oh, of course he was hiding something, because this next adventure, or this next project of his, is at Clara's school. Yes, he agrees to be the caretaker at her school, because he finds out of some alien, some villainous mercenary alien that is running around that area of, you know, London, and as a result, it must be stopped. I admit, when it comes to this story, I've seen this story twice, and I admit I never remember the full name of the monster, because the monster is more so there to present a conflict that gets a Doctor to Clara's school so that he can meet Danny Pink, and there can be a little conflict between the two of them there. The machine is more so there to kind of get the Doctor and Danny Pink in the same area at one time, forcing Clara's double life to catch up to itself, and then so Danny Pink meets the Doctor and then finds out that Clara, who he always says is rushing around a lot, it turns out she's rushing around all because she's leading a life with a man who's an alien from outer space who has a phone box that's bigger on the inside because it's really a spaceship. So Danny Pink discovers this. But here's the thing about this story. One, what I liked about it is, again, very good direction. But as I said before, if the color palette of Series 8 was wearing a bit thin on certain children or audiences who liked more brightness, that is comprehensible too. I understand that. It's still beautifully directed, but when it comes to the story, what I loved about it, because this is a problem I've had with Doctor Who and New Who most of the entire time, except for the 11th Doctor's era, which was something I liked about the 11th Doctor's era. But the other eras of Doctor Who and New Who did something I didn't like, which had the Doctor be thoroughly against soldiers, to the point where it was just blind naivety. But also it was not understanding the true history of the Doctor. The Doctor was a pacifist, yes, but the Doctor always understood, if you go back to Classic Show, he understood the need for any nation to have an army. This is something that gets confused all of the time. The doctor was a pacifist. He believed in you should never shoot first and ask questions later. But when someone's life is in danger, the doctor did believe you had the right to defend yourself, even at the expense of the person who is attacking you dying. The doctor was not naive. The doctor was a dreamer. He was a believer. He was a pacifist, but he was not so naive that he didn't embrace the reality around him, which is that sometimes the military does have its uses. And soldiers are not bad. It's simply the idea of shooting first and asking questions later. That is bad. But with New Who, it took a more of a black and white concept, which is the idea of the doctor is just anti-soldier, anti-military, anti-salute, anti-all these things. It just went too extreme in its idea of righteousness or justice versus mercy. And then with the 12th Doctor era, sorry, I'm going to shift again. There we go. With the 12th Doctor's era, it began to go in that route with me, and I was not crazy about that route. I admit I was not crazy about that route whatsoever. And then I watched Caretaker, where we have Danny Pink, who was a one-time soldier, and we see the Doctor's animosity, or we see him prejudice towards soldiers, that even when Danny Pink is continually trying to show that he's a math teacher, or a maths teacher. I'm going to say math teacher because it's easier to say, guys, and we do say it here in America. We just call it math. And I know it's maybe grammatically incorrect, but it's just easier to say. A math teacher, he's against the idea of Danny Pink being anything but a PE teacher because he's so prejudiced to the idea that a soldier can be intelligent or a soldier can be a three-dimensional and developed character. Sorry, I'll slow that down. A three-dimensional and developed character. He's just so against that concept. But in this episode, we see not only Danny Pink really stand his ground against the Doctor, we see how Danny Pink, when he says to Clara about the Doctor, that he's the one that lights the fuse, I'm the one that pulls you out of the fire. The idea, we are soldiers, we are protectors, we're the ones who pull you out of the fire from people like the Doctor, who, they're the ones who ultimately do cause the conflict, or they're the ones who do incite the conflict or create the conflict just by facing the conflict. You need people like Danny Pink, you need soldiers, you need protectors, because they're the ones who pull the innocent people out of the crossfire of the people who are in conflict with each other. In conflict with each other. And that is a good thing. And I'm happy because of this episode doing that very well. It made me now feel more comfortable with what's happening with the 12th Doctor from previous episodes in Series 8, where the Doctor was anti-soldier, or just more against the idea of soldiers. This episode now helps him have a journey where it's like, here you were, being so prejudiced against the idea of a soldier being a math teacher instead of a PE teacher, that you couldn't see the truth in front of you. You were working against him instead of working with him. And because of that, you couldn't see anything clearly, to the point where you couldn't even see that Clara was dating Danny Pink. You saw her as being in a relationship, implied that you thought she was in a relationship with a guy who looked very similar to your previous incarnation. Which makes sense. It's kind of funny. I actually enjoyed that moment a lot. Very much enjoy that moment. And also in this episode, we meet Courtney Woods, a character who I'm going to talk about in the next episode of this. What I do like about Courtney Woods was her parents. When Danny and Clara are sitting down talking to her parents and about how she's a disruptive influence, the parents are like, but the year before, you said she was a very disruptive influence. Now you're simply saying she's a disruptive influence. So clearly, this is progress, isn't it? Isn't it? I love that. That was a very good moment. Gareth and Steven, very good moment there. I appreciate it a great deal. And again, I like the idea of Clara, it all coming to a standstill, and Clara having to face her life with the Doctor and her life with Danny Pink, now being forced to be reconciled with each other. It forced Clara to stand up for Danny Pink as well. And because now the idea of Danny being the soldier, the Doctor is forced to accept that. Now we see the Doctor is letting more shades of gray enter his life and enter his perspective, and now he can go on and improve from here. And therefore we begin to have, with the 12th Doctor, a significant character development. But what I did like about this episode when it comes to the Caretaker, Also, sorry, I should have mentioned at the end where we do see Missy, because the creature that's been running around, okay, the negative aspect is the creature. This is a very underdeveloped villain. It's just there for insert villain here. But Gareth and Steven, I cannot blame them for that, because they have 45 minutes, and that 45 minutes, we as an audience are constantly demanding, give us a villain, then give us character development on the companion's part, then have us see her relationships with other people in the show, then have the Doctor be there as well. All of these things cannot be done in 45 minutes. Something will be sacrificed. And the villain is just there to cause a conflict, and we even get a super rushed explanation for why this creature is even there. It's not a developed enough reason, but hey, again, I can't blame Gareth and Steven. You have 45 to 50 minutes to develop all of that. You don't. But the reason why we have all these things cramming and competing for attention in these episodes is because Stephen Moffat and the writers were constantly trying to appease or the fandom, or trying to answer their criticisms. So I can't blame Gareth and Steven. They did the best they could with what they had. But one thing this episode had that I liked more than other episodes up until now is the idea of pacing. What I mean by that is, okay, there were some moments that were still really fast and rushed. I understand why there's a speed to these episodes. I really do. I like the idea that they're trying to keep the pace and keep the momentum going. But here's the problem. When you do that all the time, one, it's hard to retain information when you're an audience, but also it's hard for moments to land. And every now and again in The Caretaker, they gave Peter Capaldi moments to let his lines land. He was sometimes given moments to act and react to things, and the camera focused on him acting and reacting, and Jenna acting and reacting, Danny Pink acting and reacting, and that's good. Here's the thing, and then I'm going to talk about this later in a couple episodes later, I'm going to review episodes later, because there's one episode after this that did this incredibly well, of perfect pacing. When it comes to any show, while it's very, very good to have a nice, good paced, like where you keep things moving, that is good. I appreciate that for Moffat and Gareth in this story. And I appreciate that with the Peter Capaldi stories so far, but the problem is, if you keep having the pacing go so quickly all the time, it's the actors and the script are busy not being in the moment, but talking just so they can get to the next moment. The more actors and the writers and everybody is acting and writing and directing for the moment, when the next moment happens, it's going to land better because we're more prepared for it. But if all you're doing when it comes to the scripts are good overall in Series 8 so far. I mean, they have their kinks, their problems, but all episodes do in the end of the day when it comes to Doctor Who and New Who. The last perfection we saw was in Classic Who, probably. Sorry, but again, with these stories, you have to let the actors, trust the actors. Let the actors be the main focal point for letting the action be conveyed sometimes. Give them time to stretch out their lines and really deliver their lines, because if you let everybody speak in a quick pace all the time, again, they're acting for the next moment and not for the moment the now. And because they're not acting for the moment now, but acting to get to the next moment, when we get to the next moment, we're not going to care about it because we weren't allowed or given time to care about the moment at the present time. And every now and again in The Caretaker, they gave Peter, Jenna, Danny Pink moments to let their lines land, especially Peter. Trust in Peter. Give Peter time to say his lines. Give Jenna time to say her lines. They will make sure the lines land. But sometimes they're not given time to land because we're moving to the next moment just so quickly. Act for the moment, and the next moment will come when it comes, and it will be earned when it comes. But if you're always writing, you're always speaking to get to the next moment, you never were fully in the moment. And I'm sure that works for some people. I'm sure some people love the pacing of Series 8. Love it so much. However, you can accidentally leave some certain people behind. It's nobody's fault. Those people who love the pacing of Series 8 makes sense. Those people who just couldn't connect to it, here's why. Because it was just sometimes moving at such a quick pace, it didn't give you time to feel, because it didn't have time to feel itself. Does that make any sense? If not, let me know in the comment section. It probably makes no sense at all. But either way, this Caretaker had a lot of good moments. It's not going to be my favorite episode, but it definitely has its very, very good moments, and there were some great performances in here. Because Peter was given time, I was again able to appreciate how good Peter can be. Jenna was lovely. Danny Pink, again, his character development in this now makes me able to swallow and enjoy more of his characters, his character in previous episodes. And Missy in this. Missy had like no lines in this at the very end. It was just her acknowledging someone who died and now is in heaven. And my God, Michelle Gomez, even when she's not talking, she conveys emotion so well. In that one look, I could tell this is a woman who is tired, exhausted, frustrated, and is like, I don't have time for you. And my God, that woman is a genius. Again, we'll talk about her later in a video about her later. So guys, thank you so very much for watching. Have you seen The Caretaker? Have you not? If you have, please let me know in the comment section. If you have not, I hope this shed light on if you do want to watch The Caretaker. Either way, there are some great elements to this story. Some moments where I said, okay, it didn't land as much as I wanted it to land, but it's still very good in its own right. Guys, thank you so much for watching. See you again very soon. Bye, guys. Again, sorry for the bad lighting. Bye, guys.